Welcome, I'm Rhea Bentley with the University of Georgia Cooperative Extension. I'm the Family Consumer Sciences agent, and today we have an exciting show for you on Learning with the Dawgs. So sit back, relax, and we'll be back with some goodies in just a minute. Welcome back. So today we have some great things to try for you to try at home. So we're going to do a tasty apple cinnamon grilled cheese sandwich. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's going to be awesome. So what you start off with is 2 cinnamon buns, sliced apples, shredded ham, brie cheese, cheddar cheese, and you have an egg wash, which is 2 eggs and a 1/4 cup of milk. So what you want to do first is you want to slice your cinnamon buns in half. We're going to make 2 of these. So you slice them in half. Of course, they're really sticky. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take an apple slice and put it on. Then from there, you take a slice of cheddar cheese. And if you like more cheese, I said 1 slice, but if you want to do 2 slices, that's fine too. Can't get it out of there. It's a little messy, but it's cheese. So you add your cheese to it. And we're using 2 types of cheese. We're using cheddar and we're using brie. So let me get some better slices out of here. Oh well. We won't worry about that. Then we'll add our brie cheese. So you add a slice of brie, just like so. Then you take your shredded ham. You put your ham on top. Then you add another piece of brie. See how high this is? But this reminds me of Fair Foods, and one of our focuses for Learning with the Dawgs today is talking about apples. So that's the reason we're using the apples, and then because it's fair season, we're doing something similar to something like you would get from the fair, similar to a funnel cake, but not exactly a funnel cake. So we're going to add this other slice of cheddar, and since the cinnamon roll is not that big, it doesn't matter that you just put a half a slice. All right, then you top it with the topping, the top of the cinnamon roll, and it may tear apart. And remember, you want to do cinnamon buns, not cinnamon rolls, excuse me. You want to do cinnamon buns because it makes a difference. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your sandwich. First of all, you're going to melt your butter on medium heat. It's 2 tablespoons of butter. I've already melted mine here. So I'm just turning it on. And I have some tongs here which will help me put it in the wash. It's a thick sandwich and a messy sandwich. So let's see if we can get it all here. Let me try this a different way. We're going to use the spatula because it's tearing up. We'll just go with this one. So we're going to put that one in the egg wash. Then we're going to take it out. We're going to turn it over. Then we're going to take it out of there with the spatula. Then we have our heat over here. So we put it in our pan, like so. And you cook it on each side for 2 minutes. So that's so your cheese will melt. So it's very easy to do, but it's a very messy sandwich. But it'll be very tasty because you're cooking it for 2 minutes so your cheese will melt, and also so that egg on it will cook. And it's going to give a nice crispy brown. And so as you use cinnamon buns, that's the reason it's called the cinnamon grilled cheese. And as you smash it, it gets messier and messier, I will tell you that. But what's not good about a messy sandwich? So you turn it over, and we're gonna let it sit there a little while. Put our top back on. It's very messy, but the cheese is melting on that. Like I said, you can do another one here. You can dip it in the egg wash also. The buns, you may want to get some that aren't as fresh as mine. I picked these up today from the bakery, but day-old bread works better than fresh buns. And like I said, we're going to be focusing on apples, so you'll hear a lot about apples today. They're in season. You can pick them up. They're not as expensive as other fruits. They have a lot of good nutrients, fiber, and those types of things. So we're going to turn this over again. And then we'll be just about ready to take it out. We just want to make sure the cheese is melted well. And you can use deli ham, you can just buy ham already shredded, but you want to use shredded ham with this. I just got some simple shredded ham that was already in the deli, packaged. All right, so our 2 minutes are just about up. And I'm gonna check it out and see how our cheeses are looking. Our cheeses are melting. And then we're pulling our sandwich back together here to make it look presentable. And these buns were really small, so you may want to do 2 cinnamon buns for 1 sandwich. It just depends on what you're liking. But we're gonna let it just sit here and cook just a little bit longer. And remember, you use 2 tablespoons of butter. So when you're doing this, think about what's your favorite apple, and that's the apple you can use. And to keep your apples from turning brown, you want to put them in some lemon juice after you slice them. Therefore, they won't turn brown on you. So here's our sandwich. It's very ooey and gooey, but it looks delicious. So here we have our tasty apple cinnamon ham grilled cheese. Hope you'll try this recipe at home. Sit back, relax, and we'll be back with you in just a few minutes.
I volunteer.
I volunteer.
Step up. I volunteer.
I volunteer.
I volunteer.
We volunteer.
And I volunteer.
Hi, I'm Michelle, and we all volunteer for Columbus Animal Control.
If you're interested in volunteering, please call me at 706-225-4666 or email me at animalcontrol@columbusga.org.
Welcome back with Learning with the Dawgs. I am Laurel Copeland, the First Steps Coordinator. Today I will share with you an activity on one of Georgia's favorite fruit, the apple. So it's a simple activity that I will share with you that you can do with your kids and have fun all at the same time. And today we will be doing apple prints. Apple prints. And what we want to do first, we want to cut the apples in half. Okay? Cut the apples in half. I already have kind of cut the apples in half, kind of like that. Okay. And it's okay if the seed pods are showing, because that's the whole purpose of the activity, because we want to cut the apples in half so the seed pods so the kids can see the seed pod. So, okay. Number 2, what we need to do is use a popsicle stick and insert the popsicle stick on the top of the apple, on each apple. like this. Okay. Okay. Then, of course, we need paint. So what we're going to do is going to put paint on paper plates. And I'm quite sure the kids enjoy that. So first we're going to put the red paint on the plate. It can be a little messy, so if you're at home, you can also use newspaper or old paper, anything to put on your table or your floors or whatever. But the good thing about this paint is washable, so that's a good thing. So we're gonna put green paint on one plate, and we're going to put yellow plate. And remind you, this is an apple print activity, okay? So now what we're gonna do is get a sheet of paper, long sheet of paper, and remind you that let the kids have fun. Let them have fun, let them be creative, let them do whatever they would like to do. So first, what we're gonna do, we're going to put the apple in the red paint, kind of turn it all around. And then we're gonna put it, make the print on the paper, like that. You may wanna hold it up a little bit. And remind you, you don't have, the prints don't have to be perfect, but with the kids, just let them be creative and unique in their own way. And so we're gonna put some apples in the yellow paint and make and print. And also, okay, don't forget about the green, because I like green apples. So, but we know that we have all colors, green, red, and yellow. Okay. I did this activity with my goddaughter that's 3 years old, and oh boy, she got a kick out of mixing the colors together, mixing colors, and she created her own unique shapes and textures. So now, this is what it kind of looks like, even though I didn't do but 3, but I kind of give you an idea of what it can look like. But this is the one that my 3-year-old goddaughter was able to do, and she was very creative with her own shapes and textures. Okay, so while the kids are having fun, enjoying painting, they are learning all at the same time. So this is allow sensory experiences. So they're seeing the apple, they are touching the apple, and they are smelling the apple, all while they're painting. And also with cognitive skills. You're allowing your kids to be creative and to think outside of the box. And also to explore colors. This is the opportunity to help them or teach them to identify or recognize colors, color recognition. So mixing colors, let them mix it. That's fine. Also too, what this activity helps is learning different shapes, and as I said earlier, in different textures. Okay, so, and also too, I have let them be as creative as they like. I have some leaves, and this is also too in a project that my 3-year-old goddaughter was able to do. She was wanting to add the leaves to the very end. So this is something, like I said, they can be very creative, just however they want to do it. And so this is a fun activity. It could be a messy activity. And like I tell parents, moms, dad, don't worry about it. It don't have to be perfect, but have it fun and as they learn as well. So I hope you have enjoyed this activity. If you would like, or if you would like more information about resources in the community, you can contact me at UGA Extension at 706-225-3859. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Skip Henderson, Mayor of Columbus, Georgia. We are producing a few videos that are going to hopefully help you navigate the process of government. How-to videos, everything from how to adopt a pet to how to get a pothole fixed, how long should it take. Now, we're going to start with our 311 system, which is our intake system. For almost anything you need to get done in government, you can dial 311 and it starts there. Now don't forget, if you have a medical emergency or a law enforcement emergency, you still dial 911. For everything else, it's 311. Let's go take a look.
Hello, I'm Tiasha Johnson, the manager for the 311 Citizen Service Center. 311 benefits the citizens of Muskogee County in a number of ways. If there is a drainage problem in your neighborhood, dial 311 for help. If a property is a public eyesore with high weeds, illegal dumping, broken windows, dial 311. If you see litter in your area, dial 311. Or maybe if you see damaged street signs or traffic signals not working properly, dial 311. If you have garbage concerns like missed trash pickup, misplaced cans, or if you're requesting a recycling container, dial 311. 311 is available for citizens to speak to a live agent Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Citizens can also email us at citizenservices@columbusga.org, submit an online request on our city's website at www.columbusga.gov, or on our Facebook account at 311 Citizen Service Center. Just remember, 311 is the direct line to local city government. Simply dial 311 from your phone or 706-653-4000. 311's mission is to provide essential services to the citizens of this community.
Thanks, Tiasha. I hope that information helped you. By the way, keep in mind if you dial 311 and end up in a nice conversation with a lovely lady from Albany, Georgia, sometimes the cell service routes us to the wrong community, but you can still reach your intake center by dialing 706-653-4000. Thank you.
Welcome back to Learning with the Dawgs. My name is Ashley Brantley and I am the UGA Extension Agriculture and Natural Resources Agent here in Muskogee County. And today I wanted to talk to you about a Georgia grown fruit that is currently in peak season this fall, apples. Now, as we all know, apples are high in fiber, but they're also low in fat, sodium, and cholesterol, making them really the perfect choice for a healthy quick snack, a comforting dessert, or a savory side dish. Now, with over 40 different varieties being grown here in our state, oftentimes it can be difficult to choose between them all. And for that reason, I really wanted to run through some of the most popular varieties that can be found at a pick-your-own operation or your local grocery store. Now, the first up is a personal favorite, and that is Pink Lady. Now, Pink Lady has a deep pink blush skin color and white flesh. It is also a rather sweet apple with a crispy texture, and for that reason, it is perfect for eating fresh. You can also use it in salads or in desserts like applesauce or pies. It is also currently available here in Georgia now. Now, this next apple is Gala. Gala typically has a red and yellow striped appearance to its skin, and it's a smaller size, so it makes it a great snack apple, perfect for lunch boxes. It also has a sweet taste and a crispy texture. However, because it spoils easily, you'll want to make sure after purchasing this particular apple that you either eat it or use it quickly or store it in the refrigerator to maintain its freshness. Now, next up, this particular apple is actually named after a mountain in Japan. It's Fuji. Fuji is a yellow-green apple. It has some red highlights to its skin. It's another sweet tasting apple, good for snacking or using in applesauce. It is also another apple that you can currently find here in Georgia. Now, this next apple has gained a lot of popularity over the past few years. It also has a rather distinctive, I feel, skin color because it's mottled. It's patches of red and yellow. It's Honeycrisp. Now, Honeycrisp is a juicy apple. It's also sweet tasting. Again, good for snacking. You can also use it in salads or applesauce. And not to mention, it actually stores really well. Now, if you are looking for a more tart apple, look no further than Granny Smith. Now, Granny Smith is also a crisp apple, but to me it has that really distinctive skin color, what we like to call apple green. This is actually the last apple on our list today that you can currently find here in Georgia. It's in its season. And so if you were looking for a, let's say, milder apple, perfect candidate would be Golden Delicious. Now, Golden Delicious is a yellow apple. It has some pink highlights to its skin color, but it's really known for keeping its flesh color and its shape after being cut. Therefore, it's a pretty great apple if you like to cook or bake with this particular fruit. Now, the last one I really wanted to highlight today is Red Delicious. Now, Red Delicious is really an iconic apple to me. It has those notable feet at the bottom, that deep red skin color. For decades, this was actually the most popular variety around the world. Now, while it is still a good snacking apple, also makes a delicious applesauce, it does not keep well. And so you'll want to make sure after purchasing this particular apple that you either eat or use it quickly. Now, speaking of storage, let's briefly talk about how to keep your apples after you bring them home. Now, if you are planning on using them relatively quickly, they can stay on your countertop for a few days and be just fine. However, apples really prefer to be stored in cool temperatures, say roughly around 32 degrees Fahrenheit, with a relatively high humidity. And so the perfect place for this is in your crisper drawer in your refrigerator. Now, if you need to extend storage for whatever reason, maybe you bought too many apples, either placing plastic or putting them in a plastic bag in your crisper drawer is a really great option. You'll just want to make sure that at least one of those sides is open for air exchange to happen. Now, whether you like, let's say, a tart and crispy or a sweet and juicy apple, there is one out there for you. So make sure that you're stopping by either a pick your own operation, your local farmer's market, or grocery store and picking up these Georgia grown fruits. All right, stay tuned for more Learning with the Dawgs.
I volunteer.
I volunteer.
Step up. I volunteer.
I volunteer.
I volunteer.
We volunteer.
And I volunteer.
Hi, I'm Michelle, and we all volunteer for Columbus Animal Control.
If you're interested in volunteering, please call me at 706-225-4666 or email me at animalcontrol@columbusga.org.
Welcome back with Learning with the Dawgs. I am Valencia, Program Manager with Healthy Families Columbus here at UGA Extension. Hi, so I'm here today to share with you how to prepare apples for babies and emphasizing the importance of keeping babies safe as they begin healthy eating. If apples are peeled and cooked until soft, they may be introduced as soon as your baby is ready for solids, which is generally around 6 months. Raw apples are a common choking hazard and must be modified to be safe for babies and toddlers. Yes, raw apples and dry apple pieces are choking hazards for babies and children. For safe and age-appropriate preparation suggestions, for ages 6 to 9 months, raw apples must be peeled and cooked until soft to be safe for young babies. To prepare apples for babies, first peel the fruit, then cut it into halves or quarters and remove the core, seeds, and stem. Place the apple and a splash of water in a small pot, covering and bring to a boil. Then turn down the heat and simmer until the fruit has softened completely. Cool and serve. Your baby will enjoy. You can also mash to make it like applesauce. If you like, you can experiment with flavors, adding spices such as cinnamon or grated ginger. For ages 9 to 18 months, continue to destem Deseed and cook the apples until soft, or slice raw apples into paper-thin slices. You can also shred them. At this age, you can continue to serve large pieces of cooked apples as well. In ages 18 to 24 months, depending on your toddler's eating skills, you may serve raw apples in increasingly thicker slices, working your way up to a whole apple. As always, stay close to your child during mealtime and refrain from offering apples or any food in strollers or car seats. How do you prepare apples for babies with baby-led weaning? Just remember, every baby develops on their own timeline. The preparation suggestions that I have shared today are for informational purposes and not a substitute for professional one-on-one advice for your medical or health professional. Thanks.
Hello, Learning with the Dawgs viewers. It is apple seasons, and apples are Georgia-grown fruit that is in season from August to November. They are rich and high in potassium and low in sodium and fat-free healthy snack. The recommended service from our approved current nutrition guide, My Plate, varies between 1 and 2 cups each day, depending on your age, sex, and level of physical activity. North Georgia is the center of the state's apple industry. Today we're going to talk about selecting your apples and your storage tips. But the first important thing I would like to share with you is practicing good quality hygiene, and that is washing your hands. Please wash your hands with soap and water in between your fingers, around both hands, front and back, under your nails, and in between the crease of your hands before selecting your apples. Based upon the work supported by the Cooperative State Research, Education, and Extension Services, and also the United States Department of Agriculture, when selecting your apples, remember that their flavor is not dependent on the size. It's best when they're at the peak of their maturity. Now, maturity. That's in reference to their ground color. The ground color is a good indicator of the fruit's maturity. Areas of the skin with no red or purple coloration display the ground color or the degree of the green color, as you can see here. Also, we recommend you do not judge the maturity of your apples based on their size. Look for the apples that are free of defects such as bruises, skin breaks, and decayed spots. The broken skins are indications of the apple actual spoilage, such as rotting or mold. Keep in mind, these little brown spots on the apple is just solely the skin of the apple. It does not affect the quality of the apple. Now, we're going to talk about storing your apples so we can keep our apples at the max time at their best. To keep your apple or fruit in general, there's 2 key terms I want you to remember. That's cooling and ventilating. Cooling slows down the fruit ripening. Different types of items can be used to store your apples. Some people use old refrigerators. Some people use their refrigerators that they're currently using with other foods. But just keep in mind that the refrigerator storage life is 1 to 2 weeks, depending on the variety and the maturity of the apple. Now, if that's impossible, you can use areas with low heat, such as garage, sheds, unheated porch, or dry basements. But make sure those areas are below freezing. Now, also fruits can be stored every day in boxes that are lined with newspaper or other padding. Perforated plastic box liner bags are great, and they are provided from your orchard suppliers. The box liner bags, they prevent the fruit from drying and shriveling in long storage. Keep in mind, you must check periodically for rotten fruits. and remove them at once. The figurative language used, one rotten apple spoils the whole barrel. It's true. Also, if you decide to store your apples at room temperature, know that they will soften about 10 times faster than if refrigerated. Now we're going to talk about what to avoid when you're storing your apples. Avoid direct sunlight, areas with a wide range in temperature. Also, avoid using bags without holes because it does not allow ventilation to occur. And if you do not allow ventilation to occur, you will speed up the ripening and shorten storage life of your apples. And that will cause excess moisture to contribute to rotting your apple. We talked about storing your apples, what to avoid, and how to maintain your apples. Thank you.
And welcome back. I'm Tammy Keith with our Parents as Teachers program here at UGA Extension in Columbus. And wow, we learned a lot about apples today. We learned that apples can be a Georgia-grown fruit. We know that we grow them in the northern part. We also learned a little bit about nutrition, about storage, about the safety when you're feeding them to young children. We learned a few recipes and some fun activities that you can do with apples. And so now I want to talk about one of my favorite things, which is books. And today we're going to talk about books that are about apples. So one of the things I want to remind you is that when we think about books and we think about sharing books, we want to make sure that we are providing language nutrition as well as family interaction. And when we think about language nutrition, we're thinking about the way we use language in such a rich way that includes interaction, that includes a lot of quality and a lot of language that's in context with what's going on around us. We're talking about what we're doing. So we want to make sure that that language is given to children from a very early age. This way we are actually nourishing them socially through our interaction, our serve and return. We're nourishing their brain growth by providing pathways for learning and creating a foundation for further learning. And we're also nurturing their language. We're building vocabulary. They're hearing our syntax and our the way our language is set up when we talk with them. So we want to make sure that we talk with them early and often. The basics tells us that babies learn language from the moment they're born, and that when we read with children, we actually make them confident thinkers, especially when we read and discuss the stories that we share with them or the books that we share. When we ask questions, when we use that, I wonder what's going to happen next. Those are great ways to incorporate books as a learning experience, but also as a fun experience. So we encourage families to talk to their children from the time they're born, to incorporate books daily from a young age, and to also make these part of that family interaction or that parent-child interaction from the very beginning. Some of the activities you saw today, the art or some of the nature activities, and even the cooking, these are great ways to have an activity with your child and then follow it up with a book, or it's a great way to share a book and then have an activity that extends the learning beyond the book. So today we're going to talk about a few books that we have. There are a lot of books out there about apples. If you go and look for them, there'll be a lot, so check your local library. So one of the things we can do with books, we can use books for discovery. So one book we have, and this is a beautiful book, and this happens to be a bilingual book, so it is in English and Spanish. So just looking at the pictures, it is a picture book. It doesn't have a lot of story to it, but it has words. And so labeling and looking at the colors and naming the fruits and vegetables that are in there. And then asking that question, I wonder if we'll find an apple in here. And hint, hint, you will, but you do have to wait a little while for it, because what happens is we don't get that apple until we get to the green, because they've got a green apple, not a red one for us. So this is a great way for even infants to be able to handle the book, and you can just talk about it while they're sitting there, and great way for toddlers to enjoy it. It's an indestructible book, so we don't have to worry about the pages getting torn. Another thing we can do is looking at like board books. Here's a classic board book here that's called Apples and Pumpkins. So it does go a little bit beyond just labeling things. As we read the book and they go to the farm, we find out apples grow on trees, pumpkins grow on the ground. Great little fact that starts our toddlers really kind of thinking ahead. We can also use books to kind of figure out how do apples grow. We've got a great board book on that really takes us from how to plant we plant that apple tree and what it takes to take care of it. And as we get to the end, we even talk about how do we eat apples? What do we use apples to make? So a great way for that. And then don't forget our older children. Always look, if you have multiple ages in your house, look for some books that are a little aged up. This might be appropriate for toddlers and young preschoolers. This one would be appropriate for preschoolers and maybe young school agers. So it talks about how do trees grow? How do we get that apple from the tree to the grocery store? Where does that grow? Where does it come from? The other things we can do is we can use books for counting. This is a classic Dr. Seuss book. The focus is counting, but hey, they've got apples, so we can count those apples and interact in a way that we're counting, we're looking at the pages, and we're talking together. Another thing we can also remember about books is how do we use apples? We've got two books here, one talking Applesauce Day, which is the name of the book, and it does talk about how they go and get the apples from the orchard, they bring them back, they wash them, they cook them, they make applesauce. So it's a great way to interact, and it has a recipe for applesauce if you decide, so it's got a built-in extended activity. We also have the book called The Apple Pie Tree, which also talks about gathering the apples, bringing them home, making the pie together. And so a lot of these books, you'll see a lot of family interaction. You'll see a lot of children and families doing things. So we really want to focus on parent-child interaction, but also family interaction, where we're incorporating everybody into that. Another thing we want to think about too is some great resources we have are the Step Into Reading books. So we do have, and these books are tiered for different learning. So we have this one, which is a Step 1, which is our preschool and kindergartners. And the name of that one is Apple Picking Day. So it does follow this family to the orchard where they pick the apples. There's a lot of interesting things that happen. They find a worm in an apple. So there's a great reading to share, a book to share. It's got simple words, some of those sight words your child may be learning in kindergarten. So this is a good book to start with. If you have older school agers, it goes all the way up. Here's a Step 3 that's kind of in the middle. So this is grades 1 through 3. And so this one's about Johnny Appleseed, who was a real person. And so they can find out a little bit about him and learn about apples as well. So there's a lot of ways for us to incorporate these things and a lot of ways for us to share with our family and take something as simple as an apple and make a whole day out of it. Thank you. And for more information, call our extension office at 706-653-4200. Thank you.